How has the road been through these 5 years?
I played a couple of games. I had a lot of fun.
So you play Gwent a little bit?
I'm playing Newgard.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of A Round of Gwent. I'm Ash and I'm joined by co-host Pavel Burza.
Hey guys.
And today we have a special guest for you, Marcin Iwiński, who's going to be telling us a little bit about the development of Gwent and The Witcher, CD Projekt and all of that jazz over the last 10 and 15 years.
Hello.
This is the 10th anniversary of the Witcher series, but it's the 15th anniversary of CD PROJEKT RED as a company. How has the road been through these 5 years? Did the first game actually take these 5 years to develop?
We started as a distribution company, so actually not very common, very normal distribution company because we were like two passionate gamers, mostly interested in gaming. I like the sort of the distribution parts, especially the mundane things like delivering things were not really our strength, but we're very good in selecting games, then localization, PR marketing, like pretty much talking to gamers. So our dream was always to make our own game, and we're distributing quite a few companies, Western companies, and primarily Interplay at that time. And this sort of ignited us with the idea of having our own title. Like we are going to all these shows like ECTS in the UK at the time. We started going to E3, and we're just the distributors. I mean, we're localizing games. We're representing these companies here in Poland and then Eastern Europe, so like Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary. But we always thought like, hey, we are just this, this box movers, and we would love to have our own game. And obviously, we're very much into RPGs. So that's how the whole thing with The Witcher started. Like the idea was conceived, and I think it was a very unusual start in a way because most development companies, they start like, hey, there's a programming guy, there's a graphic guy, there's a designer guy, and they sit together and say like, hey, we'll make a game. We're like two gamers with pretty much good publishing and business knowledge and no idea how to develop games whatsoever. So the beginnings were super tough, and out of this 5 years on Witcher 1, I would say that 2 years probably we just used the time to learn how to produce games, so how to set up the processes. We're recruiting heavily, and what I'm saying, like we used the time, and like I'm using these very nice round phrases. It was just hardcore uphill battle because we totally didn't know what we were doing. So we are asking people how to do like super basic things, which normally like development companies would know. I mean, we really didn't know the basics, and the idea was very ambitious. So the game was supposed to be a huge RPG like Baldur's Gate, so our idol was BioWare at that time. And those were the first 5 years. So actually I think 3 years were the real production. First 2 years were just getting to know things and planning and setting up the production. Not that it was easier throughout the next 3 years, because then we were using the BioWare's Aurora engine, so we actually changed 90% of the code pretty much to be able to deliver what we want to deliver with Witcher 1. But that's pretty much how the whole Witcher thing started. The advantage we had, and actually I didn't realize it at that time, but was that we really knew what kind of game we want to deliver from the commercial standpoint, so what gamers want and how we want to bring this game to the market. So on the contrary, like the usual developer situation was that these guys knew how to make games, but they usually didn't have much idea how to shape the business part of things. And ultimately there were a lot of problems and sometimes casualties on the way to the market because publishers were changing things, and we had a very clear vision what The Witcher is going to be. We just and that's how we delivered Witcher 1, Witcher 2, and Witcher 3 then. But we just didn't have a clue how to make it happen on the development side.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear that, coming from a place where you had very limited development knowledge, you've managed to produce one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time. So
very limited, like none.
Yeah.
That's pretty limited,
That's my nice
actually.
way of putting it. Okay,
Well,
so
that's how the story started for me. Like when I played the first game, I wasn't working for the company, and when I played the first game, it was just bringing all the characters that I love to life. So thank you for doing it, because yeah, I think a lot of gamers.
Is the team. I was just running some things and trying not to be killed by our publishing partners in the due process. What actually was a problem for a lot of games out there.
So, do you have anything which you think differentiates CD Projekt from, other games developers? What makes the community love the studio so much?
That's a tough question, and that's a question which can fuel the ego. It's like, yeah, we're the best in the world. And, no, but I think it's the thing that we talk about a lot until this very day, and it almost happens on a weekly basis. We are really obsessed with equality, and this is another thing which again we were able to do because we self-finance even The Witcher 1 up to probably a year to release. So it was the creative freedom. Nobody was telling us, hey, you have to change this, change that, or I can deliver this milestone here or there, or will not pay you money, because that was the usual situation back in the day. Publishers were the gatekeepers, and there was no digital distribution, so if you were not really working with a partner, you couldn't get your game out. It's a very different situation now. Like you put the game on the digital platforms and off you go.
Yeah.
What I think is great, and that's why we see so many great games and indie titles and different approaches, which would never make it through the publisher's green light committees. So like, hey, it's total like Papers, Please. Well, it's total madness. Look at the graphics, the concept, and then hundreds of thousands of people play it. So we were able to really push the boundaries and realize our dreams. And there was always a discussion: is it going to be a top-notch game? And of course, like Witcher 1 could have been better, but I think looking at the situation and the resources and our knowledge at the company, because we develop as developers and as human beings with every single title, and we gather more knowledge, which then we apply to the next title we are working on. And I think Gwent is a pretty good example here. So Gwent has this part of Witcher 1 knowledge, and I hope you can see that. But the no compromise on the quality. So of course, ultimately the community and the media, they judge us, but so far so good, I hope. So yeah, and sometimes it's tough because like Witcher 3, we moved the game twice, and it's never easy because everything is planned, going to the market is planned, people are waiting. I think that's always the most difficult part, because you have to tell our fans, we have to tell our fans that, hey, you waited to play over Christmas, maybe you booked some time, and sorry, 3 more months. But ultimately, nobody cares about average or bad games shipped on time. Really, we don't remember that. So I think, yeah, quality and quality and quality.
And quality.
And quality, yeah.
What do you think is the most interesting decision that you had to make based on community feedback?
I think the answer here is simple. It's Gwent. It wouldn't have happened without the community. Yeah. And it was. We've been asked this question many times in different meetings, interviews, and also sometimes business meetings as well. And everybody, actually, a big part of people think that we just were ready with Gwent, and it's all just a story. It really is not. We always are very humble, and we of course noticed that within the team before The Witcher 3 has been shipped, there was huge interest. So people, instead of sort of working or testing Witcher 3, were testing a lot of Gwent.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, there is potential, but only after we launched Witcher 3, and let's not forget, it's a huge game, up to 200 hours of gameplay time, and full price title, whatever, $60 or euro. This is not really a game that you buy to play a small card game in a tavern, yes? So this was, like a good I think probably the best proof to show that Gwent is it's highly sticky in terms of gameplay, and a lot of gamers then they spend way more time in Gwent than they actually spend exploring the Witcher world. So it pretty much means that Witcher 3 could have been better. No, just joking. And then we started getting this feedback and the letters and the emails, and then the fan-made versions. So here it was kinda it was a little bit tough because we already started working. At the same time, we didn't want to tell to the world that we were working, so we sent them like nice emails, no way like legal letters or nothing like that. Hey, could you please, like, you know, and I think we really spent some time coming up with the right wording, and it went something like, if we would appreciate if you would not continue, because should there be a Gwent, it should come from the studio. So it's like,
it was like that.
Yeah, we are
exactly.
working on it, but we are not really working on it, because then we wanted to make the big announcement and share the great news.
Okay.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so back to Gwent. So you play Gwent a little bit. Could you tell us maybe about what your favorite things are in the game, maybe favorite faction?
Not that little bit. It's the first CCG I'm playing. I was never into that. I was never into the card games like Magic or anything like that. But obviously, I tried it, and actually when I was playing Witcher 3, and I spent like probably 150 hours on Witcher 3, I haven't played a single round of Gwent. So then we had the first internal versions. I started playing. I got very much into it, and this is the game I play almost every day now, whenever I have time, of course. So it's great because I can play 15 minutes, I can play 30 minutes, I can play 45 minutes, unless I'm badly beaten and then I don't want to play for a while. And I'm playing Nilfgaard. Since the introduction of Nilfgaard, before I was playing a lot of Skellige, and I like it a lot actually. And after the last set of changes, I feel the game is much faster. I'm actually having way more fun with it. I think dynamic is probably the best word. Having said that, I had a break of a month, and I really had to take probably 10 or 15 games to get back into, to learn the new cards. And the feeling that you restart and you're so badly beaten, I think, I really don't like the feeling of defeat. Actually, just this morning, so I sent my kids to school. I had 30 minutes, and I played a couple of games. I had a lot of fun. So I like the spice. I like the new strategies, and probably right now, I used to play Leto a lot. And right now, because he's just sucking in the two adjacent card and four, then. I'm not playing that much, but I started playing the Assassins, and Assassins are. I think Assassins, they're really like Assassins. They're fast, you know. They're brutal, ruthless, like.
Even the art, he just jumps in.
Really cool. Nilfgaard have seen some amazing changes recently. I know they're doing quite well actually on the ladder. With lots of the changes. Especially
and actually, you know, whenever I have a problem with some new strategy, I'm turning into the Nilfgaard maestro, Mogwai. I really like his streams. I have to say.
Alba.
I'm humbly watching it, and you do this like that, and then I'm adding some of my own twists, but like the base is there, and I think it's really nicely explained. So he's the go-to Nilfgaard guy.
Yeah.
True.
That's great to see that you're, you know, in touch with the Gwent community, like right from the content creation point of view.
Really awesome.
I think, you know, it would be. I don't have much time to play games. Actually, a lot of my backlog is suffering because of Gwent, and it's. I wouldn't be able to really talk about Gwent if I wouldn't be playing it. So actually, I think I have to start a new faction just to learn a little bit more, because I'm so into
I know which one we would both recommend.
Skoya. Actually, one of my best friends plays Skoya, and pretty high up on the ladder. So
Oh, nice.
maybe I'll take some classes.
Yeah, they're doing
Yeah.
quite well at the moment with the protectors. And
Because automatically, you know, my mind's like, no, maybe Scaligate will be easier, but then I know Scaligate quite a bit, so Skoja probably would be a good challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so thank you very much, Marcin, for talking to us a little bit about the development of The Witcher over the last 10 years. It was really interesting, and I think everybody enjoyed, hearing your take on Gwent and where it's come from. And yeah, we really appreciate that you're in touch with the community as well. So thank you very much for watching this very special episode of A Round of Gwent. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you very much.
Bye.